Happy birthday, our Nige. Happy birthday to Nigel Mansell, the 1992 Formula One World Champion. And today I wanted to look at, in addition to actually wishing the guy happy birthday, because he turned 71 years young today, the 8th of August, as I published this, I kind of wanted to look into how good he was, because a lot of these young kids nowadays, such as myself, would not really have experienced the guy racing live. He retired the same year. Retired from Formula One anyway, the same year that I was born, 95. So, I kind of wanted to have a look into, how good this guy was, because a lot of kids these days won't know how good Nigel Mansell was, because I think he's a very unique driver in Formula One. He only won the one World Championship in 92, but his journey to getting there, I think, is a very unique one. And a lot of his records, a lot of the milestones that he's achieved still stand, or at least in some regard are still up there. Like, for example, he's still 8th overall on the all-time winners list in Formula One, despite retiring ages ago. That's impressive. And aside from Sir Lewis Hamilton, he's the most winningest driver in F1 history. More wins than Stewart, more wins than Clark, more wins than both Hills, albeit some of them cutting their careers either tragically short in the case of Jim Clark, or short because of tragedy, like Jackie Stewart did after 1973. There is an argument to say that those drivers would have won more, would have gone on to greater things, but the fact remains is that Nigel Mansell, definitely put himself up there, and I think it's a testament to the guy. He came so close on so many occasions to winning the championship before he finally did. I think he was actually runner-up 3-4 times, perhaps. Let's have a look at the stats here just to be sure. He was runner-up, three times he was runner-up. Runner-up in 86, 87, and 1991 before he finally won it in 1992. That record in itself, to keep coming back after all disappointment and still come back and win, I think that's a real testament to how good he was. And he's still, to my knowledge anyway, he's still the only guy in the history of motorsport to hold both the F1 World Championship and the Kart Championship, aka what is today IndyCar, at the same time. He left Formula One as the champion in 1992 when he proceeded to win the 1993 Kart Championship in his debut season as a rookie. Let's not forget about that, as a rookie in his debut season there. And he actually held both briefly before Alain Prost eventually won the F1 Championship in 93. So that is something special in itself. It shows that he is a driver's driver. He is someone who can drive anything and drive it quickly. He raced both Formula One. He even raced in series like touring cars. He competed in some touring car races like years after he left F1. The guy's a born racer. And let's talk about his age as well, because he managed to win the championship after the age of 40. That's an age nowadays, unless you're Fernando Alonso or Lewis Hamilton, where you're kind of looking at really retiring, which is really something. He's still the most recent Formula One driver to win a Grand Prix after the age of 40. He did that at the 94 Australian Grand Prix, his final race for Williams, where of course he had the lion's share of his success. But while we're on the subject of lions, his nickname was Il Leone as well with Ferrari. He drove Ferrari for a few seasons, and I think Mansell is still the last British driver to drive for Ferrari until Sir Lewis goes there next year, unless I'm missing somebody in the middle there. But no one's springing to mind aside from Eddie Irvine. But his nationality is a bit dubious. Some people say he's Irish, some people say he's British. He did compete under British license though, so I'll just correct myself on that. But anyway, he was very successful with Ferrari. They called him Il Leone for a reason, because he was just pure bravery at the end of the day. The guy just did not know how to rein it in, and that was to his detriment early in his career. He definitely made some mistakes that more experienced and more level-headed drivers didn't make, and that was to his detriment. But when you talk about the overall pace of the guy, he's a bit like Alonso, where people say, oh, he has 10 points in these certain scenarios, these certain seasons, he's a 5-time world champion. If you do the same thing with Nigel Mansell, he can become a 3-time world champion very easily. So that's the thing, he's a 1-time world champion in F1, but the fact he did it over the other side of the Atlantic as well, went back to back effectively like that, is constant, his incredible speed and desire to win. It's like something that I don't think we've seen many times. There's not many people that I would put on that level with it. And yes, it was to his detriment at times, but you can't deny the guy's speed. On his day, he was unstoppable. He pulled off something unbelievable overtaking moves. Look at that move that he put on Piquet at the 1987 British Grand Prix, for example. So yeah, for me, he's a true British legend when it comes to motorsport, and he's absolutely up there with. Britain's been so lucky to have so many champions, and it's now impossible to think this guy is the worst champion out of this selection. You know, Mansell is absolutely deserving to be up there near the top for me. You know, he's not quite on the level of Stewart and Clark and Hamilton, but there's like a second tier underneath that. He's definitely in it for me. You know, he is a true Formula One champion at the end of the day and a legend of the sport. But that's just my tribute to the guy. You know, 71 years old. I can't believe he's getting on that much, to be honest. But of course, he did win the championship over 30 years ago when he was over 40. So it does add up. But yeah, what are your favourite Mansell moments over the years? Were you there at the British Grand Prix in the 80s and the 90s when he was in his heat, when Mansell mania was at its peak? I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. And of course, keep it subscribed to the F1Chronicle.com to see much more video content like this. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and ring the bell as well. And if you're feeling very generous, become a member on YouTube too. We'll appreciate that. Just 99 British pence per month for that. So yeah, we'll see you very soon, guys.